Jack Draper is 6'4", very good at tennis and left-handed. And I am one of those three things.
This is how you play like him anyway.
Last week, we looked at Jack Draper's game. We unpacked his archetype. We looked at his instinctive style of play and why he's so unplayable when he's playing his best. But many people asked, how can I play like that? I certainly did.
Yes, and like you said, well, Jack Draper is a big, powerful, 6'4", left-handed, attacking court dominator. You are some of those things. Not all of them, some of them. But ultimately, we are not trying to copy Jack Draper. We're not trying to learn from his technique. We are trying to develop a style that dominates opponents and creates pressure in a similar way, and that is what we're doing today.
Those of you that missed last week's episode, our tactical framework is loosely around whether you shorten or lengthen points in terms of the way you like to apply pressure to opponents. So you can either lengthen or shorten points or play in a structured or variable way. And we unpacked Jack's game, we looked at his court position, the types of shots he likes to use, the patterns he kind of gets into, and he definitely shortens points. He's always looking to shorten points and play first strike tennis and do it in quite an obvious structured way. It's a big forehand. Yes, the backhand can be a weapon too, but he likes to get his forehand into play, move up the court, take time away by hitting heavy shots. So given that we have described how he plays, it's now about how you can play like him.
Because we are not mimicking Jack Draper, we're not copying his technique, how he actually moves. Instead, we are trying to give you a sort of framework for how you can practice and compete and ultimately play like him. What we are going to do is give you essentially a few guidelines, a few sort of signposts, things to try and do, and most importantly, permission to make mistakes.
Yeah, it's all about making the right choices that fit your instinctive style of play, and therefore if you make that right choice, even if it goes wrong, is not being upset with yourself because at least you stuck to your style, you stuck to your guns. And it's important that one of the beauties of this sort of archetype system is that if you are very set, if you have understood and you understand your own game, and maybe you watched that first Jack Draper episode we did and thought, you know what, that is exactly how I like to try and play tennis, then this video is perfect because we're going to go through some of the things you can do to really emphasise and improve that level.
So, shall we get onto it?
Yes.
Onto it. The very first thing that you need to do to play like Jack Draper is...
you have to have, if you're playing like Jack, is a weapon.
Yeah, this is ultimately the sort of fundamental key to this sort of dominant first strike tennis. The first opportunity Jack Draper gets to take control of the point and to begin to shorten it, he takes. The first thing you can do to practice this is develop a pattern. And this is important. It doesn't need to be 20 patterns. It doesn't need to be lots of different variation. It just needs to be one thing that you are going to do that helps you get control of the point right from the very start.
So an example of that, I guess, could be to look to step in on someone's second serve and hit really fast and deep back to their feet down the middle, or when serving, or serve out wide and then look to add power to the ball into the open court, but consistently doing that.
Yeah, and that is ultimately it. It can be incredibly simple, and if you watch Jack play, he does this all the time. Big first serve, he uses that lefty serve to create a bit of space, looks to make it a forehand, and then hammers the ball in the opposite corner. The point being, just get really, 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 really good at that one pattern. That's kind of the point of this. Jack Draper doesn't worry about 20 shot rallies, about being consistent, because as far as he's concerned, the rally is going to finish before it even starts. So overall, the key thing is find the one thing that you're going to look to start points with. Now, obviously, your opponent is trying to prevent you from doing this, and this is the point. The harder they make it, the better you have to do it. That's what learning is. That's how you improve your game. As soon as you can't do this to someone, Jack Draper doesn't go, oh, all right then, let me try something else. He goes, no, I need to do this more. Bigger, faster, harder, more commitment to shortening the point. So, point one, find a pattern, find a very simple thing that you're going to take control of and get it as perfect as possible.
Some tennis players are reactive, others are more proactive. I think you would describe Jack as the latter.
Yes, he is certainly a proactive player. He is trying to shorten the points. He is trying to bring the point to its conclusion. And this means one very important thing.
Yeah, he always looks to move up the court. We talked about his court position in our previous video, where after all his shots, especially after big first serves, or after he's ever been able to have a decent strike of the ball, he's moving up, and he doesn't like to give that back. He'd actually rather stay up and take it on the rise or on a half volley than he would drop off. He's always looking to maintain that pressure. And so if you want to play in his style, you have to continually look to get forwards, look to dominate the court position, and therefore dominate the rally.
Yes, the absolute worst thing you can do if you're trying to shorten points and play with an aggressive first strike archetype is move back and let the points get longer. So even if you're a little bit uncomfortable, even if you feel a little bit rushed, tough. This is the whole point. These are the mistakes you're allowed to make as you learn to play in this style. Take it on, get forwards, be aggressive, no retreat, no surrender.
Tennis players love drills. They love to set up scenarios to try and create game situations that they maybe struggle with to try and perfect them.
Yeah, we're not huge fans of this.
No, we find drills a little arbitrary and a little restrictive. We prefer to set up constraints within open scenarios. So you have free will to make whatever decision you like, but a constraint to try and encourage you towards one that's going to help you.
Yes, and the key thing here is this constraint that you choose needs to be coherent and cohesive and nice and like essentially made with really good clarity that it's helping you do the thing you want. Now, Jack Draper, as we've said, short points, very aggressive, looking to use the forehand early. So Joshua, what constraints could we possibly put on live tennis that would encourage people to play in the Jack Draper style?
You could, for example, say, if I was playing as Jack, that I have to finish the point or win the point, either through a win or a forced error, within 3 strikes of the ball.
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
So I have no option but to go for it, to look for it, to take what may seem or be perceived as risk, that sort of fearlessness approach to tennis, but actually if you train it consistently and do it, it becomes part of your repertoire.
Well, yeah, and this is the whole point. The number one reason lots of club level players don't play like Jack Draper is they're worried about missing. And yeah, you're going to miss a lot of balls, but the point is, when you're playing like him, that's the risk you take and that's the permission you have. We want you to step in and be ultra aggressive, and what initially feels like, risky overplay, taking, like essentially being too wild, with enough practice starts to feel like, oh, I'm just taking control of this point. And that is exactly what the 3-shot constraint is doing. We are training the commitment to the play style. So the more the opponent makes it difficult for you, the more important it is that you don't leave. You say, oh, I've got someone really good down the other end who keeps getting the ball back. Yeah, good. They are helping you raise your level and get even better at this. Now, key at this point, it doesn't have to be a winner within 3 shots. It's a great one, but you could say, as soon as I get a forehand and I'm standing inside the baseline, now I've got to win in the next 2. Maybe it's my second shot has to be a volley. It doesn't matter what it is, but you are just setting a constraint that enables you to take control and really start pushing these rallies towards their conclusion.
And hopefully takes you out of that negative mindset if you do make mistakes, because it's sort of, well, I had to go for that. And if you can make your training like that over time and the hours of doing it, it becomes so ingrained in you that when the pressure comes on in matches, you just stick to your guns and do more of what you're good at, rather than going, oh, I better just sit 3 steps behind the baseline and make 20 balls and wait for them to miss. That may well work, but you're more likely to make a mistake because that is not your style of play. As we were saying, when you're playing with this type of archetype, you have to accept certain errors, and that's the same for all archetypes. Whichever style you play in, there's going to be types of errors you make that are par for the course.
Yeah, the key thing is that we are building pressure over time. So, Jack Draper, he builds pressure by always taking chances, by always being aggressive, by keeping his opponents rushed and unsettled ultimately. So you don't have to win the first point. You don't have to win the second point. You don't need to win the first game. But what you are doing is establishing that you are going to take control. You are going to be the dominant force. So you may well make a lot of short-term errors, but as long as the long-term feeling that the opponent is getting, like they feel your constant aggressive pressure, that over time is what Jack Draper is doing and what you need to be trying to do at home.
And I think many people will think back to matches they've played and imagine if every time you thought, like, when everyone's been in those positions, I'll just make a couple of balls. I'll just get this return back, get it safe in the court. And if the guy down the other end, as soon as he was able to do that, would bang onto it, you're going to be like, I can't do that. I can't risk even just pushing a couple to sort of fill myself back in. So you're forcing them to go for it as well. You're forcing them to try and put you under pressure. And so you're changing their maybe optimal shot based on your style. Yeah,
this is the point. You are controlling the match. The match is happening on your terms, which is exactly what Jack Draper does. No matter who is down the other end of the court, he is always playing this way, and that's what you need to be training. If you want to play like this, you cannot let rallies settle. You cannot step back and buy time. You are always first, you are always aggressive, and you are always looking to shorten the point.
Sounds good to me. So if you want to play like Jack and you're not 6'4", these are the sorts of things you need to think about. Moving up the court, having a pattern you can rely on, having as soon as you see opportunities, having a weapon, having a shot you wish to try and use, and when you're in practice, making sure that all your practices constrain you and force you into reinforcing this style of play, so you don't, when you get under pressure, drift back to, I'll just make 10 balls.
Yes, this is absolutely critical. We are not practicing playing his tennis. We are practicing delivering pressure in the same way he does. The worst thing you can do is go out and try and copy a professional athlete's technique. He's 6'4", he's way stronger than you, way fitter than you. Trying to hit the ball like him will not work, but trying to deliver pressure in a similar way is all about committing to decisions, committing to your style, and making sure that you are controlling the point, not letting the game sort of just happen around you.
Yeah, chances are your opponent won't be as good as his anyway, so you probably won't have to hit the ball quite as well.
Unlikely.
Probably not.
No, there you go. Once again, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode where we're going to tell you how to beat Jack Draper. So if you've got someone at your club who is doing this to you, coming up is how to defeat it.
It's a 3-part series.
There you go. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Then you won't miss that next episode either, will you?
Will ya? Will ya? Will ya?